I mean, without getting into campaigns and elections, I can tell you that right now we have a congressional GOP in the House that is proposing major cuts that would cut our ports program. It would cut the program we've used to build safer railroad infrastructure. So I do worry about that, but I also think we have a pretty strong defense against that, which is the fact that when these projects actually happen, when we announce them, even the elected officials who voted against the bill and fought the president at every turn, they seem to be perfectly happy to celebrate the projects with us, which I think is a good indication that this really is good policy.
You know, I mentioned that before you came on in a conversation that we were having. Mr. Secretary, what do you tell these Republicans who have railed, and some still go on the floor? I think Tommy Tuberville was one of them, and then they go home and they celebrate the ribbon cutting. Is that actually is that a good problem for you to have because it sells the deal in the end, despite the headache putting this together?
Yeah, I mean, look, I have more appreciation for the handful of Republicans who crossed the aisle to work with Democrats and work with President Biden to get this bill done. But those who want to celebrate it after the fact, I guess, welcome to the party. I mean, these are going to benefit people. We don't have Republican roads or Democratic bridges. I mean, these are good projects regardless of politics, and they're going to benefit people regardless of their politics. And, we're not going to let constituents suffer because their particular representative was short-sighted about this. We're trying to really push past the politics and just get the work done.
Well, it's not every day we get the transportation secretary on the air, and we are talking with Pete Buttigieg here live on Bloomberg. We're a week out from Thanksgiving. My God, it's a week from today. I wonder what your team is working on and trying to anticipate in terms of disruptions or safety concerns on one of the busiest travel periods of the year.
Well, over the summer, we saw numbers that broke records in terms of TSA screenings, showing us we had all-time record high levels of passengers taking to the air. I think the same thing is going to be true going into Thanksgiving and the winter holidays too. And so it's the most important thing to me is that the airlines be ready to take care of their passengers, and that our department is ready to have those passengers back when they hit an issue. Compared to even 1.5 years ago, there is dramatically better, stronger passenger protection that our department can enforce. People should go to flightrights.gov, ideally before you buy a ticket, to learn a little more about what each of the different airlines is responsible for offering their passengers that again, we can enforce if there's an issue. We're also trying to make sure that operational concerns are being met. That's why we're aggressively working to modernize FAA technology, hire more air traffic controllers to support that increased demand. Economically, it's welcome to see more and more people returning to the skies because remember, since we're talking about anniversaries and what it was like a couple of years ago, it was only a little over a couple of years ago, everybody was wondering if the airlines would go out of business. Now we have kind of the opposite set of problems. We just need to make sure the system can keep up.
So no meltdowns, no big Southwest messes this year that we have to plan for.
Well, there better not be. And if there is a problem, the airlines know that we are going to be on it very quickly and holding them accountable. But look, we've seen, to their credit, we've seen them step up. We've seen a lot of improvement. The rate of cancellations is actually below what it was before COVID so far this year. I'm looking to the airlines to keep that up, and we'll do everything we can to help them meet those goals.